powerful leaders in the country. Father, Lord, let us be powerful. Let each and every one of us here.
Girl, how you bad so? How you bad so? How you rude so? I wanna take a little piece of that. Just give me permission to walk you. Hey. Cause any whining girl, I don't want to interrupt you. See, I'm telling you, baby, the way you're behaving. When you whine like that, tell nobody to stop you. Oh Lord, I wanna go down. Let me see the waistline go wrong. Bubble to the day.
Giving everybody a chance to come because the assistant secretary, when she called yesterday, 20 schools or 20 persons said that they would be here this morning. Only to realize tomorrow is SEA, so that's a bit of a hiccup. However, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Dr. Simone Lange. I am just holding on for Ms. Bridget Adams, who had a bit of eye surgery. And she gave me 3 things she would like for us to address. But before we go there, or even before we even continue any further, Arlene is going to lead us in a bit of prayer. It's of June. Right? A suggestion that I made, what we'll do, and you will give me the consensus on it, we're going to resend the letters to the schools, and we'll try to see if we can initiate another meeting next week, please, because we are going to need consensus, because it filters us right into the second point, whereby I believe each team is supposed to pay something like $500, which we find to be somewhat stiff or somewhat exorbitant. Team, full stop, across the board. This doesn't even include players' registration. So that's why we need for persons to come for us to have the discussion to see how best we're going to deal with it. The monies and stuff like that. All right? I believe we have, Bridget said she can get here. I stand corrected Tuesday and Thursday, 1 to 4, and then 5 to 7, right? And respectively, and we still have the option of Skinner's Park. So we have the indoor for when rain begins, when season changes, and we have Skinner's Park for the majority of the sunlight games or dry season games. Excuse me. Another thing that she wanted to discuss, we needed like confirmation as to how many schools or how many institutions will be able to bring forth a team and what level would that team will be playing at. So now you see why it is we need yet another meeting. We need to really have something going. Yeah, but I still want to hear your thoughts.
But I think all of that is positive. And I said, I want to see last meeting very good.
How do we move forward? Are we going to resend the letter via email? I realize a lot of schools they're not embracing the technology.
Yes.
Because you send emails and no one responds.
So I can tell you, some private schools don't have no secretariat. The principals have no time to read all the emails. I don't stop on the rest of the one thing of that. They don't respond to those things as such, unless it's a Ministry of Education.
All right. So I believe phone call will have to be the way to
Because
go.
one of the calls I've made, the teacher asked me if we had clearance from the Ministry of Education.
Yes, they will always ask that question. That's another
Sorry.
thing.
They always ask that.
They will always ask that. You have to be in collaboration with the Ministry of Education.
And it has,
Especially if you didn't
because school child administration was south, and this was Blackburn Roots Split, and that's how she got into all of the teachers, because she went through her. And so that is the procedure. You have to go through her, and then you have to go to the Southern branch office, which is on Sutton Street, and that's what the first meeting she ever had with them was there, and then decided to come in the window.
All right, so then that means the next meeting, I think what we need to do, we need to link with the ministry, and probably the next meeting we would ask to have the ministry representative present also.
Supervisor.
The school supervisor, right?
Maybe we could ask the ministry to send out the letter on our behalf.
No.
No? Can go on?
They won't. Okay.
Let's liaise with the principals of the schools that we're targeting to send who are interested in sending teams. Let that principal indicate to the secretary the representative for the meeting and obtain a contact number for that person. So in instances where we want to meet and have everybody in attendance, we liaise with both the principal and the representative
Of that particular school.
informing them of the date, time, and place.
All right, that's a nice suggestion. Shouldn't you go that? All right. So what we'll do from tomorrow, please God, we will start back. We will return to calling the school administration and ask that we get contact information for the representative that they're going to send.
But you don't have to talk to the principal.
No, we're going directly to the administration.
Get the principal first, let the principal liaise with our staff
Yes.
to ascertain exactly who is going to represent the school at the meetings and get that person's name and contact information. So when we are planning meetings, we give them information to two persons. We inform the principal that, hey, your teacher, your member of staff is required and needed to be present at this meeting. And we inform the representative as well, we have a meeting on X day. In additionally, when we speak to the principal, if for whatever reason, I mean, people have their private lives, if the representative is unavailable, who is your substitute?
Okay. Shouldn't you know that? All right, beautiful.
And what
That's
you
already
said, how you present yourself on the phone as to who you are. That's a principle doing this up and really exist. So it has to sound good, you know.
No, trust me. From what I heard, hello. I'm calling on behalf of the San Fernando Netball League. We're having a meeting. Now, this is me overhearing. If you call a name, I might whistle. If it's Shanice, I might whistle. And this is her on the phone actually saying on behalf, we'll be having a meeting at the South Regional Complex. That's what you said, baby girl? Right, for 9 o'clock Wednesday. Right, and we like to know if you'll be sending a representative. So the professionalism within the phone call, that I could testify to that. That was embedded. So my girl did well. Stop blushing. Right? But I don't know. I think this piece of groundwork that we're doing here, I think we need to get it right. And once we get it right, that will be it. I think that is going to make it much easier for us to sort. Right? So I want us to be patient until we get the schools representative in one place at a given time. Now, as it pertains to the fees for registration and stuff, my personal take, too few of us here to really discuss that. Because that $500, that's just per team. Where we haven't even looked at individual player registration and all of that, and all the other gist that accompanies it. So that's why now more than ever we're going to need the voices of the other representative to get a clarity as to which way is the best way to go in terms of the financial state of things.
Where are we charging?
Exactly.
Where's the $500 coming from?
Pardon?
The $500, how does that consist of?
What it consists of. Nice question for Miss Adams when she's here. Because I didn't ask.
But does that include the registration or affiliation fee that, that will come down to $300 for us?
No, I don't think that would be I think that would be different.
We played last year,
Pardon?
Fernando Central, secondary. We played, not last year, the year before. And it cost us over $900 just to pay all of the fees for the league. And it really was a deterrent last year. That's why we couldn't. So what we had to do, we actually had to get sponsorship, because what San Fernando Netball League has to recognize is that this particular league is not sanctioned by the Ministry of Education. So we have to seek funding elsewhere to be able. We don't get that from our schools, so we have to get donations to be able to play in this league. One of the reasons, of course, it's not played during school time. It's not played actually. Some of the games are actually during the holidays. So the Ministry of Education has not. We have a secondary schools netball league where we have just about 4 maximum. Yes, 4 teams. Yes.
Just
4 schools.
This is for all of the secondary schools.
Victoria. Yes. Yeah. So the key, I heard what you all were saying, but really the key is getting an individual in the school, because this is a league that's not sanctioned by ministry. It is voluntary. So the key is getting someone in the school who is willing to participate. So you have Marabella, Coach Pompey and Marabella. You have in Pleasantville, you have Miss Huggins in Pleasantville, and okay, all right. So we just have about 4 teams, and what has been happening with them is, if that person, that interested person, which is usually a teacher or a coach, is not able to carry the team for that year, then nothing happens. So you'd find that they'd start off and we would have opening, and then after the openings, you don't see 2 or 3 of the teams. You do fixtures, everything works, and then you don't see the teams come out. So we open.
And it's the same in primary.
Yes, that's what's been happening.
Same in primary.
So what I actually did, I'm the secretary for this zone. Okay. But what I actually did was, at one of our track and field meets, because this is where the teachers would come together, I went from teacher to teacher and was able to get a couple more people interested. But again, there's a dearth of coaches, I should say. So they're willing, but they don't have coaches. So we have Open Bible, who is willing to play. We have Ashton Girls, and again, they have an issue in terms of their uniform. So they want an adjustment in the uniform in order to play. We have Naparima Girls, who joined us. Yeah, they had come in after speaking with the teacher. So talking to the principal is one thing, but really this is a voluntary thing, and that's the reason why I'm here. And so you really have to get the connection with a teacher in the school. I mean, even with a coach, in Coach Pompey's case, the teacher has given her free reign, pretty much. And, she has run with that. But in the other schools' cases, because they have not been playing, in Gasparillo's case, Gasparillo actually was responsible for the league before I came. And the teacher went off to do some studies, and that was the end of the Gasparillo team. Nobody's taking it up. So the truth is, you have to really get into the school, find out who is willing. You're talking to the principal is one thing, but the principal cannot mandate us to be. Okay. The principal can only say there is a league and we would like to participate. Is someone willing to participate in that league? And pretty much that's how sport is run in the school.
Sports is also dying in
It
schools.
is. Yes, it is. If you went to secondary school, track and field, you would have realized that.
Because I mean, not to stray too much from the meeting at hand.
No.
When I was in secondary school, the netball league was like, whoa. Because I played with Asja, and Modsec had a team, Naparima Girls, Convent, Open Bible, Old Tech, Marbella, Junior, Senior, Pleasantville Junior, Senior, Gasparillo Composite, Faizabad.
These same schools, I call them.
All the secondary schools had a team.
They didn't have a team, but as the teacher interested, so she could still come to meeting, ask the normal team, but there was still some teacher, I asked some of the school teachers, okay, government, the teacher for the lab, she not here today, primary. She said that they have 2 teachers who now come in, they're not 2 wills, but they want to learn. So I told them, come to meeting as well. Eccles Village Primary School, they said the same thing. I said, you can still come to meeting because even though you don't have a team, you can still have one table, especially you can also coach some, do a game. Naps said the same thing.
Who's at Naps? Abiola?
I don't know, there's not
Yes.
secretary, she didn't give her name.
Branch, yes.
Spider-Man intimidate. Spider-Man comes to this Destiny, Irie High School, Superior. All of them said that they have teachers who willing, but they don't already have like a foundation to start with. So I said they can still come to the meeting, but
Because that means, like how the league is starting from scratch, that means the schools that are interested are also starting from scratch.
Yes.
So
That's what's
in that aspect, we really need to revisit the fees and the structure of the fees.
Yes.
Because
yes.
those fees and structure, that fee will run people instead of
Yes.
encourage them.
Yes.
So we'll have to find a way to put the, fix the fees in such a way that, because I mean, if the schools are struggling as we are, we have to take that into consideration. The finances will be just the same, will be an added struggle.
And really what has happened, the schools
it-
have been, the funding to schools has been cut by 40%. And of course that's going directly into sport and physical, because that's the easiest one to say we spend too much money. So they're cutting our transport, they're cutting purchasing of
So
uniforms,
it's
the
a
whole thing.
balancing, with respect to the fee structure, it will have to be a balancing act. Because taking the schools into consideration, they have to organize their finances in such a way that they can meet the financial aspect of the league as well with their personal finances. Because that means they have to start from scratch in terms of getting uniforms, organizing transport. Every time their girls have to come out to play, I mean, some sort of refreshment, if it's just a case or 2 of water, I mean, so
And then what
it's
we
a
have to
lot.
look at is that
Uniform
is
teams and stuff like that.
And what we're really looking at then is really 2 leagues. Because we have the secondary
As
school
As well as San Fernando.
as well as San Fernando. So we have to see how San Fernando's league can be played, because it really, as far as I have seen it offers an opportunity for more playing, which they really, really need. And that has helped Montec's team a lot.
What is Ajna's problem? Their uniform?
They need a coach, and they also, and their uniform, they were saying they would have to wear like a track pants. And they wanted to know if the league would make that kind of adjustment for them to be able to wear.
That won't be a problem. That won't be a problem.
because she has some class, but she said she wouldn't put open Bible children this year, but she's volunteering herself to do table official and doing games and stuff like that. So she says still send her mails and stuff, she knows when meetings are.
Alright, no problem.
One thing we have to address with the schools that are starting off, they may have representative or a willing teacher, but is that teacher available to coach the team? Because it's 2 different things in some schools. Some schools is the person who will organize and the teacher representative, but the teacher representative is not necessarily a person who can coach. And then we have to see where we can fulfill the need. Now, I know under the ministry that most of us did, but most of us that are trained last year with the coaching course can officially go on under the ministry to do that, and Bridget have those names, and it's a lot of individuals.
Alright.
So-
Shanice, you have that? I catch your daydreaming. Catch your daydreaming.
Actually, that might be a key person to actually make contact with the teacher, because the teacher really needs reassurance that there's someone there who can actually
Support.
Yes.
Support. Yes, that
A lot of the teachers are willing, but they just don't have the expertise.
Yes.
So just one thing. In the primary school, it's not yet where you have a teacher specifically for sport and physical education. It's not like that.
I know St. Paul's have that, the majority of primary schools.
They then tell you that the teachers in the school who say that they're interested or whatever, you have to find the teachers' names and ask them, the teacher will call you or you can tell me how I can get on to the teacher. You ask me number, how can I contact the teacher and just fall into like starting to give you the cell number? Because you don't tell the teacher nothing.
You get the strategy
You don't tell them anything.
Well, that's why I said, that's why I mentioned before, when you talk to the principal, let the principal identify who is the person willing to volunteer their personal time to take up the reign of either managing and coaching a netball team. And when you find out who is that person, let's liaise with that person and get contact information for that person. So one, we informing the principal who is the head of the school as to what's going on with respect to her school. And two, we have that person's contact information. So we're also informing that person, hey, we have a meeting, and the onus will be on that person to liaise. I mean, we will still try to communicate with the principal and keep her up to date as to what transpired meeting-wise and league-wise and stuff like that. But we also have two forms of contacts, or three as the case might be, in terms of if a teacher is not holding two posts as being the administrator and coach. If it's like one teacher is administrator, one teacher is coaching. And we have everybody's contact information and everybody is informed. In addition to which, Shanice, if we can get the meeting information out to the respective reps in a timely fashion, could you please also indicate to them that they are to let us know at least the day before whether they could make the meeting or not? Because as much as I appreciate Ms. Roach's call that she can't make the meeting, you can't call 20 past 10 to say you can't make a 9 o'clock meeting.
But the Minister of Education said recently,
Time go run, bubble to the baseline, you can't sit down, girl, you can't sit down, don't stick now, we can't prolong. You got the realest bumper in this town, it's the way